Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you that are just joining us, we're going to give a few others a couple minutes to just jump in the room. Thank you for joining us for From Hustle to Hire. This is the first modern workforce training presented and designed by Talent Nova. We're excited to talk to you today about flipping the script and owning your story. It's one of those things that is not always top of mind. How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about your experience? And how do you share that in different places and spaces and with people? And so, again, thank you for joining us today. We have another one of our Talent Nova ambassadors here who will be moderating and helping look for any questions that you may have in the process. So, again, excited to talk to you guys. I guess I want to kick off today by saying that you're more than your past, and it's really time to rewrite the narrative. It's time to really talk about yourself in a way that you are proud of. A lot of times when we experience life and its happenings, it's difficult to talk about not just the gap in our resumes, but to talk about the good things and the wins that we've had in our life. But I'm hoping that this session and this series will help you navigate on how to show up in the room with your head high and with the language that you need to lead and to lead successfully. My name is Kalila Alokna. Some of you know me as KO. I may have coached some of you, and really excited again to talk to you and to be here to share the story, because we all have more, we all have one. So the first question top of mind you probably are asking is why your story matters. And it matters because people need to hear who you are, what you've done, and how you can make a difference, right? Not just in their life, but in your organization. This quote here, where it says, your story didn't stop when you got out, it started just getting good. I want you to think about that and just own that moment. Your story didn't stop when you got out, it just started getting good. And so when we re-enter, right, it's another opportunity for us to build this remarkable chapter in our life, and shape these new experiences and to build these career pathways and own the responsibility and opportunity that we've been given in some of these new roles. Some of us came home with vision, right, on going into new careers, or with vision and making impact in our community. And it starts with being willing and able to share your story. It is your mindset that drives your momentum and shapes your future. When we learn to embrace our journey ahead and recognize that every experience contributes to our narrative, it reshapes what we believe, not just about ourselves, but about the opportunity that lies before us. So, how do you own your narrative? Thank you for asking me. Here's the truth: your experience makes you an asset, right? It's time to really embrace your journey. So, how do you talk about yourself? What have you experienced? All the way from your teenage years until now, that you can shape, right? And tell a story that people want to hear. You'll hear in this conversation that your lived experience is learned experience, and it can help you build your leadership experience in the workplace. But it is your unique story that helps you show up in the room and be uniquely you. It's that diversity of thought that we have from the things that we have been able to encounter in our life that makes us, again, an asset for the organization that we go and work at. And this is why this conversation is important. And this is why Talent Nova wanted to start with flipping the script and changing your story, because it is the responsibility of us to change the narrative and to be willing to show up in rooms and to offer what it is we have, to offer it as the experience that we've been shaped by, and to make impact in a way that we know that we can. We're often limited by fear, limited by perception, or limited by doubt that we carry on our own. But after this workshop, our hope is that you no longer carry that, but you forge ahead with the new narrative of who you are, and own the opportunity that's been laid ahead for you. I want you to remember that you are stronger than your past. So, if anybody's in the room, quick question. Have you ever been told that your past disqualified you? I can't see if there's any hands in the room. I don't even know if you can lift hands or respond in the chat area. But if you've ever been told that your past disqualified you, I see you, Amy, then this conversation is for you. And again, as I shared in the last slide, your truth, your experience makes you an asset. So how do you begin to flip the script? You start with number one, you own it. What happened doesn't define you, but how you respond does. does. Write a moment in your life that has shaped you. So I want you to take a moment. Some of you may be on your cell phone, you may be on the computer, but I want you to think through, and if you can, text it to yourself, right? Write one moment in your life that shaped who you are, right? It could be your experience of serving time. It could be an encounter with a relative. It could be a workplace. What's that experience that helped shape who you are? Then frame it. Every story has context and yours has courage. So ask yourself, what did I survive? What did I solve? What did I learn that others have not, right? And it's that past experience that helps position us to succeed. All of us, have had these encounters, these ability to experience these different levels and lanes. There's a TED talk called Tribal Leadership, and it talks about leadership at every level. And there's some CEOs at high levels that won't ever understand what it means to lead on the front line or in the neighborhood or in a facility. And because you have that experience, that sets you apart to be able to change the trajectory, not just of your life, but the people you've encountered, because you have these different lived and learned experiences. So after you own it, after you frame it, you can flip it. You can turn your struggle into a strategy and fill in this sentence by saying, because of what I've been through, I now. So I often show up in rooms and say, because I served 5 years in prison and came home and was able to get to know me and to get to know some of the people that I had this encounter with, the American dream I wanted wasn't about a house or a picket fence, but it was making impact in the lives of others. And so I bring to the table the ability to interact with people of a diverse background because we were from everywhere in the facility. And so you have to not just own it, not just frame it, but you can flip the script and change your story. And you flip it by turning what you encountered that people may see as a struggle into a strategy and into a solution. And then speak it. And this is where that confidence navigator comes in. Your word carries weight. And so you can use them to unlock doors. There was a time where I was ashamed to share my story or my narrative. And I didn't know how to do it in rooms, but the more that I shared it, the more open doors of opportunity it gave me. It put me on platforms and spaces and gave me opportunities like even the one here at Talent Nova to be able to come back and to talk to others about how you can own your narrative and your story and change the chapter that you are currently working in. And so I want you to take this framework and I want you to begin practicing telling your story in 3 sentences or less. I said 3 sentences or less, really focusing on your growth and your grit. This is important because closer towards the end of this conversation, we want to give you the incredible opportunity to share your story with us here at Talent Nova, because not only do we appreciate you being here, but we want to get to know you in a deeper way. So where do these narratives and these stories show up? What are the scenarios that we have to tell our stories? Where the first one may be with peers in school, right? You are talking through your education that you may have encountered. And I'm not talking about a degree. It can be a certification. It could have been something that you learned through one of the tablets that you experienced. We also share our stories in public spaces, right? In scenarios and conferences and in rooms. Another place where we may share our stories, if we're there yet, is in our homes, sharing our stories with the people that we love and that we care about, not because we want to put them in a position to feel uncomfortable, but we want to help them learn some of the lessons that we experience, and it becomes teachable moments. And it's also an emotional encounter to be able to express with your family some of what you experience. And the last one, of course, is in the workplace, which is really what we want to double click on and deep dive in today. And so if anybody here, and you can raise your hand like Amy did, has had to encounter telling your story in one of these scenarios, would you raise your hand while I go to the next slide? So thank you, Amy, again. And so our stories are so important. We hear stories now in the industry, stories of people like myself, maybe your story, Amy, maybe the story of my colleague who's here, John B.F. Martin, who is the founder and executive director of Dave's Killer Bread Foundation, who helped lead the way to employer training and helped lead the way for other organizations really being willing to open up doors of opportunity with people with records. Or it may be a story like Larry Miller's, right, who served as the president of the Portland Trailblazers Trailblazers, and then the chairman as the Jordan brand. So being able to share these narratives, it becomes not just case studies, but evidence to other organizations that people with lived experience has experience that you can encounter and use to help increase the productivity and the opportunity in your organization. When we look at organizations that have opened up recruitment pipelines for individuals with records, we learn that they have the lowest attrition rate because we stay, and they have the highest level of productivity. And so if you are sitting down or you're in a room, I want you to kind of pat yourself on the back, right? Or just shake a little bit, right? So that you understand like how important you are to the workplace. As we continue to talk about this narrative and how to flip the script and change your story, what are some of the barriers and some of the breakthrough moments that we have to encounter really to get comfortable and confident in rooms to do this? Number one, it's that fear of rejection. Can anybody relate? That fear of rejection is often a common barrier. We don't want to show up in rooms and share our story out of fear that people are going to shun us, right? Another barrier that we face is this self-doubt. Many individuals question their capabilities, leading to missed opportunities and potential growth. That's why we're going to talk to you about how to translate your skills in this conversation and ongoing throughout this learning series. That negative self-talk, anybody talk to themselves, and that internal dialogue really undermines the confidence and hinders the progress in your personal development, because you keep telling yourself that you don't deserve to be in the room, or that you shouldn't be in the position that you're in, when in fact you've done everything that you were supposed to do to be positioned there. And the fourth thing is that procrastination, really delaying action due to fear, can prevent achieving goals and fulfillment and fulfilling potential. And what that means is that you wait really longer than you need to show up in a place, in a space that you've already been given access to. And then number five is limiting beliefs. These beliefs can really trap you in a cycle of stagnation, blocking your path to success. And then present, like embracing a growth mindset, really allows for transformation and empowerment to write your own story. So if you have been experiencing fear of rejection or self-doubt, negative self-talk, procrastination, or a limiting belief, I want to pull you into this present place, right? And I want you to begin to think about all the things that you encountered, all your wins, all the challenges that you were able to overcome, and embrace this growth mindset and say, I did it, right? I'm here today. And because I'm here today, I've taken another step, right, on this journey of success and this narrative that's been shaped for my life. And so really quick confidence check-in with all of you. And so I want you to really rate your current mindset. If you're feeling good about yourself, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Have you had a moment to identify your biggest limitation, just hearing how we framed it, right? Thank you, Christine. Have you been able to recognize your recent wins, like just by thinking about the narratives and some of the things that I shared? Can you go back and think about a time that you achieved a result that you really didn't classify as a win, but it was a win? And can you take a moment here today and agree that you are ready to visualize your ideal future by changing the narrative of your story? Are you willing to commit to one small change? That's you, raise your hand. Thank you so much for raising your hand. And so this confidence check-in is not just something that we want to do today. We do have a worksheet available for you that you can use so you can continue to give yourself a current confidence check-in so that you can rate where you are. You can identify what that limitation is and find a solution through it. And you can recognize your recent wins so that you can pull yourself out of that perception of I'm limited, and you can see the pathway ahead and commit to a change. So what are some of the things that we have naturally, right, that really we don't realize we can use in the workforce, right? And what's the time for other people to develop it? I'm happy you asked. So what are those hustle-born strengths? You've navigated tough situations, you've built resilience, and you've adapted in various environments. How does that show up in the workplace? It gives you the ability to tackle unexpected challenges. It increases the team's productivity and morale. How can you use this in the workplace? When you enter in from day one, immediate application and daily tasks. This can lead to quick improvements for your organization. So this is not something that, has to be cultivated. This is something that can be applied right now. If you showed up in a new job today, because you've been able to navigate tough situations, you can go in and help use this application in your daily task. Problem solving. You've been able to find some solutions to challenges, and it helps foster creativity and enhances the team dynamics. How is it workforce goal? When you are able to solve problems creatively, like most of you have, it becomes highly valued in work environments that are solution driven. What's the time to develop? When can you use it? I mean, consistent practice over time solidifies the skills, but if you have this lived experience, all it does is to help you continue to build the confidence that you need to know that you have this ability to come up with solutions and solve the problems in the workplace today. And finally, strategic thinking. How do you use your life experience to strategize effectively in professional settings? Strategic thinkers drive innovation, they drive solutions, and they improve business outcomes. Not sure if you know that, and that can be part of your story. If you know how to come up with cool ideas, if you can take your lived experience and create a route out, when you go to talk about yourself, you can say, I'm a strategic thinker. I help drive innovative solutions, and I can improve your business outcomes because I have dot, 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 referencing that past experience. And that past experience doesn't have to be in a corporate organization. It can be you being responsible for the library books. I worked in the mess hall when I served times. And so being able to cook for 1,000 people has helped me understand how to work in high impact and high volume environments. And I can show up and use that language in the workforce that would give me credibility and would show me as an asset for an environment that needs the same. And so the time frame to develop strategic thinking for most people is ongoing. And when you enhance those strategic abilities over a long period of time, it helps you to develop. But again, because of your natural born strengths and the situations that most of us have faced, we have these experiences that are workforce goal. So I put together these different pillars and panels to show you what that life experience looks like, really briefly, and how that life experience can be used for work. You've navigated systems and institutions. You're a problem solver. You supported your family through hard times. Come on, somebody. You have time management and multitasking. You mediated conflict in your community. You understand conflict resolution. You've been able to mediate conflict in your community. You are adaptable and you're self-learning. You mediated conflict in your community. You can communicate and you can self-advocate. You've led a team, a group, or an event. You have leadership and planning. What we don't realize is some of these things that we've encountered can show up in skills on our resume. They show up in skills in the workforce, and we never give ourselves enough credit. But I hope that you've heard something here today so far in your life experience that will help you flip the script and change your story to show you how to use it for your work experience. So where do we start in flipping the script and changing our story? You start by crafting your mantra. I want you both, all of you guys that's here, to take a moment to reflect on your journey and define your truth. What do you want to remind yourself of daily? For inspiration, consider using a phrase like, I am built for more, and display it prominently on your phone screens and keep your focus sharp and your spirit high. Or it can be something like, I am brave, or I am an overcomer. Whatever it is, start with I am, and then reshape your narrative with a couple of key words and keep that for yourself. I used to show up in rooms and I used to have that fear of rejection and just started saying that I am brave. And so I am brave is written everywhere, and showing up saying that I am brave. Eventually, I walked in the room and said, you are brave, right? And so shaping a mantra will help you navigate during trying times or during situations where you're not sure, you're not completely confident, or you can't see the wins that you had in the past because of what's happening in front of you. And it's something that you need for yourself when there's nobody else around to tell you. And so why does that mantra matters? Because when you craft a personal mantra, it's essential for helping you stay focused on your goals. You want to keep going, say something. Right? If you want to keep growing, say something. It will always serve as a reminder of your values, of your aspirations. It will guide you through your challenges and encourage perseverance. I can say a lot of things about our talent Nova ambassador John BF, who's on here, right? Like a couple of words that I can use about being resilient, about having grit, and all those things matter. And sometimes when you don't have people nearby to tell you, you have to be able to tell yourself. Anybody thinking of a mantra? If you are, you can raise your hand in the room. So let's create your mindset anchor that can include your mantra. A mantra is going to remind you of who you're becoming, right? So try starting with I am, I will, I can. That's how you shape it, right? And then example is I am more than my past. I am my potential. I am brave. I was able to navigate through challenging times, right? I always show up for people, and I'm going to show up to make impact. I will finish this project. I will get this job. I will get promoted. I will finish this certification, or I will go into this field. So whatever it is, you begin to shape your mantra, and that mantra, along with starting and the example that you provide, becomes your mindset anchor. Because a lot of times when we're sharing our narratives and we have to tell our stories, it starts with what we believe about ourselves. Anybody agree? You can raise your hand if you agree. And so this week, we got a really cool, thank you, Anthony, a really cool weekly win challenge. And so this week, we want to challenge you to tell your story in just 60 seconds. You can do that with your cell phone on video, or you can do it just in writing it if you want, a little short narrative, maybe your mantra. We want you to reflect on who you are now and what you're building. We want you to be able to embrace your journey and share these transformative experiences that really shape your narrative, because it's really time to own your story. So what you can do is you can send your story to info@talentnova.com to submit for your win, right? And so we want to know who you are. We want to know what you've been able to overcome. We want to understand the challenges that you face. We also want to understand where you're going and how we can support you. As most of you know, Talent Nova is an incredible career platform. And one of the things we pride ourselves is walking you through this career journey, right? From reentry to resume, and now to preparation for hire. And so if you are here, we really want to hear from you, and we want you to be able to share your narrative. So what's next? What happens after this? And so first, we have 7 more weeks of lessons and learnings for you. I hope that you come back. If you're going to come back, I need some hands raised up in the room, right? And so next week, we're going to talk about, thank you guys. Next week, we're going to talk about bossing up, really the goal of professionalism. Like, how do you show up and use that story in the workplace? What are some of the things that you need to have to walk in the room, to close, to build projects, to interact in meetings in a really thoughtful and intentional way? What does workplace culture look like, and how do you affect it, right? By being an active team member inside the workplace. And we'll also have another weekly win for you. And so what are some of the action items for your checklist? So we want you to watch a TED Talk, right? And I want to recommend Shaka Senor, Righting Your Wrongs, right? And so you can simply Google that TED Talk. And it really is about changing your story and using what you experience to change the narrative and to become. For those of you who don't know who Shaka is, Shaka served time, and he wrote this incredible book about writing, about changing your story, writing your narrative, righting your wrongs. And in this book, he kind of talks about some of what he encountered. He wrote this book in some way, shape, or form. It ended up in the bag of Oprah Winfrey, right? And from the story that I heard, she wasn't going to read it because the cover was one of those covers. You know how when we serve time, we get our books made, and it's not really as primed and proper as most books are. And she wasn't going to read it. But when she opened it up, she couldn't jump out of it. And she ended up inviting him to have a conversation with her on one of her Sunday gospel shows. And she called and canceled. And he thought that she wasn't going to interview him anymore. But what happens is that she was inviting him to her house to have this conversation. So he went from serving time. And because he was willing to flip the script and to share his story, to change his narrative, it ended up in the hands of Oprah Winfrey, and it changed the trajectory of his life. I think that we have many people on this call, and those that will listen after this call on the replay, who have narratives that people need to hear, who have narratives that will change the trajectory of somebody's life, who has narratives that can make impact in the world of work. And so not only do I want you to watch the TED Talk, I want you to reflect on your key takeaways. What did you learn about yourself? What part of your narrative are you going to change? What's your mantra? What's your I am, your I will, and I can? What insights can you share with a friend who may need a hand up because they are just reentering, or you have been connected with them and they need to understand how to talk about themselves also? And what new strategy can you implement to share your story? Is it going to be, I'm going to share it as an update status on social media and maybe pin that you participated in this flip the script training with Talent Nova? Is it going to be inside of a group setting where people are already sharing stories, but now because of this training, you have decided that you worked up a little bit of the confidence to say who you are, what you've done in a proud way? And so, what new strategy are you going to take to implement your story, and how can you use it, right, in a thoughtful way? When we think about stories and I am, I will, we also think about resumes. A resume is a story, and oftentimes it doesn't tell the whole narrative. And that's why we wanted to give you language to help lead you in rooms, in school, in the workplace, on public stages, and in public places, and with your family. And then the final thing, journal your progress this week. Like, write down how thinking through changing your narrative made you feel. Write down how recognizing and remembering your wins took you to this place of a little tiny bit more of increased confidence. Because what we understand is that when you empower yourself on a journey towards transformation and resilience, it happens not because you showed up to a class that KO was presenting with, but because you actively participated in these steps on your own. And so my final thing to share with you guys today, and I'm not sure if we can open it up for questions, Jean-Pierre is going to jump on and tell me if we can, is that your narrative is yours. It belongs to you. And there's so many people that want to hear it, that want to experience it, not just people that you're close to, but also people in the world of work. Some of the most brilliant and brave people I know are individuals that have re-entered back into the community like myself. And they've all used their narrative to create impact, to provide insight, and to innovate in organizations similar to Talent Nova, who's trying to create change for individuals that are re-entering back into the community. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Amazing. So for those of you that are on the session right now, we have the Q&A feature up and live. So you can click that button down there, pop in any questions you have for KO, and we can tackle them live, or we can email you back with better resources if we don't have it live. Additionally, if you click on the resources tab at the bottom of your screen and you click on documents, you'll see a series of Hustle to Hired worksheets. So throughout the course of the 8 weeks that KO will be facilitating and hosting and guiding you through, we have worksheets and exercises and activities to help really double down on all the things that she's teaching and imparting to the group. So throw in questions in the Q&A, since unfortunately we don't have you on video and unmuted. So you can put anything there and we can address it now.
Yeah, we love to help you. You can put a short blurb about a mantra that you're thinking, or a short blurb or a narrative that you want to change, and we can respond and give you suggestions to work through it. Whatever you want, this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. And if you don't have questions, you just have feedback, you can feel free and pop those in the Q&A section also. Thanks so much.
Might be fun while we wait to see if questions come through. If everyone threw into the questions, what's a mantra that you want to walk away with today? KO gave some really great ideas. I jotted a couple down. The favorite that I had is, I'm built for more. I'm going to put that on a sticky note and put it on my monitor today.
We have a shy bunch.
I think
But I
maybe
saw you holding your hand up, Amy, Christine, Anthony. I saw you guys lifting your hands.
maybe what we'll do for the next session is we'll make it so we can see you.
Yes.
And then we can have a conversation. How's that sound? How about put your hands up if you want to be able to be seen and heard at the next session?
Yeah, I see it. Everybody's
Okay,
raising
there we
their
go.
hand.
I'll fix
Okay.
that.
Yeah, got it. Awesome.
Oh,
Thank you
hey,
so
Miley.
much. Awesome. Thank you. So, but before we go, we just want we would love if you would just drop in the Q&A section one word from what you've experienced from the training. One word you're going to leave with. It could be empowered, I feel brave. Would y'all mind giving us one word in the Q&A section? Maybe. Can they do that?
Yeah.
Excited. Okay. Amy said excited. Anthony said, thank you for the info. I'd like to add this to my job readiness workshop. Thanks.
We can do that. And I know where to find you, Anthony.
Yeah. Christine, you have one word? Jillian, add your one word too. Christine raised her hand. Awesome. That's fine. Thank you for those of you who participated with us. Empowered. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome.
Ooh, confidence. I like
Confident.
it.
That's a goal for us. So so don't forget info@talentnova.com. We want to hear your mantras, your short stories. You can do it on video, you can do it on print. We would love if you would just send us an email so that we can get to know who you are and where you are also. Do you have anything that you want to add on, John BF?
I think this is good. Thanks for coming for the first week. The next 7 weeks are pretty freaking awesome. I know this because I've seen the slide decks in advance. So join us and invite others to come with you. So if you work with friends, family that you think would benefit from this as they think about their job search, their job readiness, their confidence boosting, they can register now and come to any of the sessions at any time. If you represent folks, so I know that there's a couple people on the call that actually work directly with people that are actively job seeking and coming home. Feel free to send this to your clients. Have them join. We'll send replays. So tomorrow or Monday, you'll be getting an email with the replay of the session. They can get a lot of good content even if they can't join us live every week.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I'll just end with this. Your past may be a chapter, but it's not your conclusion, right? Own your story, flip the script, and write the future that only you can author. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll see you next week, everybody.